Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the pre-match build-up for the game between Leicester City and Manchester United at the King Power Stadium. Don't think about the Carabao Cup and Liverpool losing 2-0. We'll get onto that momentarily. It's not the final, unfortunately, but it is still, I don't know if people will call it important, but we've still got to beat Leicester at the King Power Stadium regardless. Shreyas, talk to me, brother, whilst we're waiting for team news to kind of flood in, how are we feeling heading into this? Are you optimistic after Thursday night's result? What are you thinking?
I was quite confident before your text, but after you mentioned the text and the scoreline that you mentioned, I feel a lot less confident. Apart from that, makes a bit sense because it's been like 2 to 3 good performances on the bounce. So you never really know. United could pull something completely different out of the bag today, but I think overall Leicester are not a good side. At the moment, they're struggling a lot. I don't know the last time they actually won a game. So, and I think this season, how many times have we played Leicester? Like 5 to 6. I don't know how many times have we
4 times in total. I think this will be now.
and we've beaten them on every single occasion, even when we didn't really play good football. So, I think considering it's Leicester City, I think we'll be able to take it over the line.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dan might be lagging a little bit. I don't know what's going on with his connections. Hopefully, he can sort that out. If you can hear us, Dan, it's a bit laggy. Oh, are we back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me, yeah. Sorry, he was lagging a little bit then. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Dan? Leicester, easy, tap-in, 2-0, no problems at all?
Yeah, especially considering the last game and the performance, I think we should be confident at least going against Leicester in this game. I mean, this week. So I think we are good to go, and also good to see like a couple of players stepping up. I mean, from the youth system also. So I think we are in the right path at this point. I mean, playing good football. So that's what all we needed from the beginning. Like we need to just see the good football. So I think we are seeing that in the last few games, that as a team on the whole we are improving. The passing moves are looking really great, like a proper team games. So I think we should be good, and it should be an easy win.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you guys who you would start going into this, but the lineups have just dropped, so I will place them on your screen for you momentarily because we are doing quite literally live tech as I go, and I'm just going to waffle basically until we can put it on the screen. There we go. Right, let me switch this around. And this is your lineup for today's game, people. So we have Andre ONANA in net, just passes it. It was touch and go. We didn't know whether it was going to happen or not. He is in net, so it's not, one of the youth goalkeepers, basically, who's going to be starting. It will be ONANA. People might say, well, a youth goalkeeper would have been better. But, yeah, he's starting in net, so that's a positive, I suppose, if you want to look at it like that. We also have Lindelof, and Hayden starts again. Hayden, I said Hayden and Heaven. I said Hayden.
I thought another youth there is coming in.
Yeah, another one. Surprise. Yeah, fucking hell. Heaven, starts again in the back line. We've got Mazraoui, Bruno Fernandes. Ugarte comes back into the midfield. With Dalot back at left wing back. Boo, stinks, not a fan. Garnacho, Højlund, and Eriksson as your front three. So no Joshua Zirkzee today in the forward line. I'm not sure if it's a knock. I'm sure we'll find out in due course. But Shreyas, ONANA starts, he's fit, raring to go. What have you made of his performances recently? And yeah, just are you happy he's starting or what?
The thing is, I don't know if he's healthy, or he's just playing because we've genuinely not got anyone else to actually cover for him. So
yeah,
till the time that question is answered, I don't feel confident with ONANA being in net every single occasion. Not to blame him, he's been all right the past couple games, but there is just this lingering feeling before we go into any game that maybe something could happen. Somehow we end up conceding in every single. I don't know. Remember the last time we even kept a clean sheet. So every single time we concede a goal against a team, whether it's Leicester, whether it's Ipswich, or whichever team we actually end up coming up against. So he doesn't fill me with confidence, but I think at least till the end of the season, I hope that he can have some decent performances. Maybe we can assess that situation when it comes to that goalkeeping department in the summer, but till then he's probably the best that we've got.
Mm.
because Heaton is out. You've got Binder out as well, who seemed quite promising in in the opportunities that was given to him. So Onana is the best and probably the only one we've got at the moment. But besides that, you mentioned Xerxes not playing. I expected him to not play actually today because Amorim used to mention it a lot that playing the Europa League and then playing in the Prem can be very taxing on players. And Xerxes is probably one of his players who's been playing a lot of minutes in the past few match games. So I think resting him is probably a wise choice because we still don't know how deep we'll go into the Europa League. So you need your players fit for that tournament because that's your best bet of saving the season.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
can, save Xerxes for the entire tournament, if you can save Bruno for that entire tournament, I think it can provide us with a much needed boost.
Yeah, I'll get into the forward line and the midfield in terms of tactically and the fact that with Eriksen coming in, Bruno being in there, you're probably expecting an element of control. But I just want to keep going through the defence. Matthias de Ligt, Dan, has been an absolute rock for us at the moment. He was guaranteed to start. He's starting every single game at the moment. What have you made of his performances so far? Because when he came in, he had a lot of criticism, especially from ex-players, Paul Scholes, etc. But he seems to be really settling in at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he has lived up to the expectation what we had when he came into the club. And like any player that we bought, and initially we just say like he needs some time. Any player that comes in, we just say that he needs a couple of the months or the few games to get used to the Premier League, because Premier League is different beast. So, and before this, we have, to whatever the players we have told about these things, like the players will take some time to set in. Those players have not that much set in as what De Ligt has set in between. So I think he has lived up to the mark in this. And initially he was struggling a bit because maybe could be the system, because back three, I'm not sure whether he's used to that back three role prior to coming to Manchester United. So I think now he has been looking like a great, a solid rock at the back of the defense. And you just imagine like when he is there, and then Lenny Yoro is there, and then if Martinez comes back, so I think that three will be the defense for at least for a couple of more years for the future. So I think he's really been able to replicate the idea of Amorim into the system, and he's able to play like what Amorim has decided. And now he has become like a versatile defender, like you can play him in any position in the back three. So I think he's kind of become a leader. He has already been there a leader. We know that the fighting, the physicality is there when even from the days of Ajax. So I think that everything was there, but it was only the thing was like he has to set everything into its place. And now he's kind of a regular starter, and he's kind of a dependable player now. He has become. So I think, yeah, for the few, at least for 2 to 3 years, also the price for which we have got him. At this point, if you are getting a player of that, this form of player, I think it will nearly cost us 60 to 70 million. But the price we have got him, that's really great to have. We don't usually get these kind of players for lesser price tags.
Absolutely, yeah, spot on. And there was a lot of weight on his name, wasn't there, because of the clubs that he had played for, like reference like Juventus, Ajax, etc. Bayern Munich being another big club as well. But do you know what I thought? Carl Anker on Talk of Levels made a really good point about De Ligt, saying that with Heaven starting in that backline, Shreyas, obviously De Ligt's played for massive 4 massive clubs now by the time he's 24 years old. So if you want anyone with the right experience to guide you through a game, De Ligt is that guy, innit?
Yeah, because even though he's 24 years old, he's played at the topmost levels of this game. You look at his time at Juventus, you look at his time at Ajax, you look at his time at Bayern as well. I think overall he's accumulated a lot of experience. He's probably taken, teachings as well as, experience from the players that he's played alongside with, like Chiellini, Bonucci. You look at Bayern as well. Playing in the Bundesliga also allows you to, revitalize your game a little bit more, because Serie A and Bundesliga are completely different leagues. So for him to, continuously adapt his game from the Dutch league, then moving on to Serie A, then moving on to the Bundesliga, and now he's moved on to the Premier League. So the amount of, I would say, exposure that he has, especially in that backline, I don't think any other defender possesses that sort of exposure that Matthias de Ligt does. And another thing that really helps us is he's actually a natural born leader, where you see him playing for us week in and week out. He's probably the biggest the most vocal person that I've seen in that back line. So to have that sort of figure really helps you out. And with the kind of youngsters that are coming through from the ranks, it is genuinely very, very important for us that there is at least one figure in that defensive line who these players can actually look up to. So
Yeah.
with having someone like Delict really helps us, especially when you look at Heaven, especially when you look at even say I would say Dorgu, because defensively as well, whenever he's defending, Delict really helps him out a lot for him to progress as forward that he does. I think so. I think overall, I think we signed Delict for around 45, 46 million. For that amount, I think it's been a value for money buy.
Yeah, I absolutely spot
And-
on that. For £40 million as well, Dan. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We hardly do these kind of business, and I know I've been watching games from Juventus when he was there. So the only concern for me was like when he came to United was like I know that his physicality is up to the mark, his defending skills are up to the mark, and his pace is decent compared to the Premier League. But only thing I was concerned about was the discipline in defending because I've seen like kind of overcommit himself for the tackles,
I
and that
agree.
makes the ground open on the other side. So that was the main concern for me. And in the previous weeks we can see that is being improved. Like he has becoming more mature day by day. Like when to go for a tackle, when to make a challenge, and when to defend, and when to pull keep yourself back. So that thing is improving in his side. So I'm as you mentioned about the price tag, for that price tag with that young defender with a lot of experience in playing with the top clubs, you won't get these. His tenure at Bayern Munich didn't work out that well because that's why they were able to sell him and let him go for this price tag. Otherwise, we could have been ended up paying more than 70 million for that level of because we got Maguire for 70 plus million. So you can just compare the different players. So yeah, we were lucky to get him, especially. Also, the same applies for Dogu as well.
Yeah. We're going to go back into the individuals in a second. Just want to go to the chat. We've got a Newcastle fan in the chat saying, up the tune, Arnie, why lads. James McGregor saying, evening fellas, been a while, my bad. Don't count your chickens yet, Jordan. The Italian studied defensive players and that too. Craig the Unicorn says, De Ligt is our most underrated player this season. He never gets his flowers. He's been a rock all year, and the injury concerns really aren't a concern. I hope you've touched on when you said that, because I don't want him picking up any form of injury for the next couple of weeks. That typically always happens with Manchester United. But in the middle of that back three, we're expecting Victor Lindelof, Shreyas. We know he's leaving in the summer. That's been, it's well known around the Man United kind of fan base. But when he's coming, he's done all right, hasn't he? It's not like he's had any mistakes or slipped up. It's just kind of one of those things where he's coming towards the end of his United career, having been here for so long. He's just a fill-in guy at the moment, and they just do a job. And then we're expecting him to leave in the summer.
Yeah, and I think in the past 2 to 3 years, Lindelof has always been that sort of backup figure for us in the defensive line. Whenever he's come in during Ten Hag's 2 seasons in charge, he's always been that sort of backup figure behind Lisandro and Varane, or behind Maguire and Varane, or behind Shaw and Varane. So he's always been the one who just steps in, does his job, and gets on with it. And I think overall, you need these sort of players as well, that in the event of an injury crisis, they can come in and do a job. And when you look at Lindelof, especially last season, the amount of minutes that he got, especially as a right back or a left back, just to fill in games, it is not an easy position to actually put yourself in. But he still, he gave it his all. He did what he could, and this season suffered with an injury. Came back into the team. Once again, we're struggling with injuries in that backline at the moment. He's come in, became that centerpiece in that 3-back defense, and he's doing all right. So I'm sure, that moving forward into next season, he's definitely moving. But I think when you look at Lindelof, he's been that sort of a figure who doesn't really, create any sort of controversy, or, you don't really hear anything bad out of him. He gets on with his job. He does whether he's starting or he's not starting, he's always been a figure who you just look at and you go, he's an all right guy. Not probably, at the level that he can start for us week in and week out, but as a backup figure, he's still all right.
Yeah. Of course, we've seen, Mazraoui in the back line, Dan, more often than not, as kind of the right-sided centre-half. He's going to move into the wing-back position today, which he doesn't necessarily, full-on fit, in my opinion. But in the Arsenal game, I think it was, he found himself as a spare man quite a lot with Garnacho on that right-hand side. He seemed to have a lot of space. He was getting in a lot of areas. And another one as well he's been playing on an empty stomach. Now, people might think what you're on about, but because he's a Muslim, he doesn't break his fast, I think, until like 60th minute in a game or something, or sometimes obviously it chops and changes. So that added to that as well, considering the performances that he's been putting in. He's been really good, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been unreal for us. I mean, the amount of work rate he puts in. I mean, even you can see like whenever he's on the pitch and he'll be running around like back and forth the pitch, and that energy level is so high. I mean, again, I'll say the same thing about what I mentioned about Delict, that the price we have got him for. I mean, definitely today his price is kind of a 60 plus if he goes anywhere else, or if United buys him for this form. But yeah, to his performance-wise, he has been, kind of at least for 90% of the games, he has been a kind of a top player for us. I mean, in his own cadre there. But again, added to his whatever he's, he's his religious-wise, whatever his commitments are, he's on top of that as well. So it's kind of a proper man, proper player, and everything. That a team needs, it's there in him. But coming to the game. He has become like that much dependable that you cannot even see towards the bench like whom to replace him, and he can do the same kind of a job, at least 50% of the job what Mazraoui does for us. And he has been kind of so versatile as well considering him whether playing at the back three and also at the wing back. Maybe for the future run, I would prefer him to play at the wing back more often, just to to create more attack wise and more intelligence on the when you have the ball, that which we are missing with Dalot. The finishing is not there. So I think Mazraoui, you see that whenever we are in attack, he's already there, and whenever we are in the defense, he's there. So what a player we have got. I'm not sure how much. What is the age for him for us? To get at least 3 to 4 years out of him. That would be really great to have him in the team. So I think he's totally unreal for us at this point. And the situation we were in, because we were lacking the wing backs, the left back, right back, we were struggling a lot, and he just provides that availability. Kind of a Bruno level availability in the team. So that's what we need, at least 5 to 6 players who can play regular football like what Bruno does and like what Mazraoui provides us. So that just changes the whole, the composure of the team. So you know that there is a player who can play at the centre back role, who can play at the right wing back, who can play at the left wing backs, and that just gives an extra advantage for us.
I feel like every team needs a Mazraoui, don't they? Like I almost feel like it's a bit insulting to call him maybe a utility player. But because he can play so many positions, every squad you always need to fill in somewhere. There's always someone that's injured. There's minutes for him constantly wherever it is he's playing. You look at, I'm not saying he's the same talent level as these guys, but people like James Milner, for example, who could play right back, centre mid, anywhere across the pitch. Patrick Grobe, I think is, I don't know if it's Pascal Grobe, is it, for Brighton, and he moved to Dortmund. Could play right back, centre mid, centre attacking, as a 6, everywhere. So he's really, really important considering how kind of threadbare we are at the moment in the team. On the opposite side, Shreyas, we've got Diego Dalot. I saw a stat before on him. He's played, I think it's the most minutes for United this season, 3,600 minutes of football, which is a lot of football. Obviously, he's not been in the best of form, but he did score against Real Sociedad on Thursday, which should give him a bit of a lift. And he is always available, despite, I know he's not great, but he never gets injured at all, does he, Dalot?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the things that we like about him as well as Bruno, that they're always available no matter how many minutes they actually end up playing. Even last season, I think Dalot was probably the only one who never really got injured, played every single game for us during the entirety of last season as well. Then moving into this season, again, played as a right back, played as a left back, plays as a right wing back, as a left wing back. So availability wise, Dalot is probably the best player we've got. When it comes to application, I think that's where things are a bit downhill at the moment. And I'm not sure, in what capacity he would fill in moving into next season. Whether he'll once again be a starter, whether he'll be a bench player, or, he gets fit into a completely different position. But I think Dalot will still stick around for a while, like at least 2 to 3 more years, because when it comes to injuries, United, somehow every single season we are riddled with injuries. So to offload someone like Dalot, who's always available for you and again covers multiple positions for you on the ground. It is tough to actually, replace these sort of players.
Should he stick around?
I don't think so. I think if we get a good offer, I would still say I still rate Dallo around 40 to 45 mil
Interesting.
because age and also once again because of his availability. And every single year I hear Spanish clubs being linked to him, Madrid being linked to him, and a lot of clubs actually being linked to him. So there's always some buzz around Dallo whenever the summer transfer window actually kicks around. So if we can actually cash out on him, get around 40-45 mil, I'd be happy with that sort of an offer. If someone tries to lowball us for around 20-25 mil, I'm not sure whether United should entertain that sort of an offer.
What are your thoughts on that, Dan? Because it's a weird situation, isn't it? Because obviously he has been linked with clubs. People say that, well, there is something there, but he is, kind of pushing 25, 26 now. So if you are the manager, the head coach, whatever you call him nowadays, what decision are you making with Dallo?
I would rather keep him until I get a kind of a proper backup for him. Who can be really available for all, at least kind of a 70 to 80% of the games, because he's that kind of a player who is available always. In terms of availability, you can see matches with Bruno and Mazraoui, and he's also kind of a versatile player who can be played on the different positions. At least on the left and the right side, who has been doing the same job for us. But that again, if you get somewhere around 30, 35, I think we should be putting him on the list. But at the same time, the problem with Dallo is that his positioning is very good. I'm not mentioning about while defending the corner or while defending the cross, but while attacking wise, his positioning is better. But the only thing is that finishing decision what he makes, and if he gets everything right when he's on the attack, he can be at the top level of with the assists and the chances he gets. And because you have seen that he's always there in the attack, he's there with the in the right position. But only the thing is he makes the finishing wrong, or maybe the passes that he plays that's totally bad. So I think his positioning is very good, but if he can as Shreyas mentioned about the applications, if he can be on the top of those crosses or top of all those passes, then he can be his stats may speak for himself in a different way. But at the same time, at this point, to be at the top level, to be competing against for the title race, I don't think Dallo is the right choice at this point. But we need an upgrade for him. But at the same time, you cannot just sell him and don't get anyone else and depend on the existing players. But you need at least a proper upgrade of him before sending him out. But anything around 30, 35, it's I think a good mark. But considering his age, I think for a normal player, 27, 28, it's the peak of any player's career. So I think he's yet to reach that level, but I'm not sure whether he can upgrade himself to that level. But definitely in other leagues other than Premier League, I think he can do a really great job, because you see that the qualities are there, but only that application is missing. So maybe a bit of slower pace in the gameplay. I think that is the area for him to excel. But at this point, if Manchester competing for the titles and Champions League, I don't think he's the right player for us at this point. But definitely we need someone to come in before letting him go, because at this point, availability is the key for a player to get in. And so he provides that availability. But again, a proper replacement, then yeah, why not go for 30, 35 million for him?
I have to be honest, for me, he'd be probably one of the first on my list at the minute. Him and ONANA would be right up there. I'm not even lying. Like they're
the biggest weaklings in the team.
Yeah, they just don't fill me with confidence at all, man. But I get what you're saying, because we have a plate full of transfers that we need to do in this team. It's hard to kind of decipher, how we're going to get all these players at once, which we're probably not going to do in the summer. So that's an interesting kind of topic.
But at this point, I think the future is with Dogu on the left and Mazraoui on the right. So I think anyhow he won't be getting the.
But I think they might bring in a right-sided wing back, Dan.
Yeah.
I think they'll bring in one as well there, because obviously he was looking at Kenda. Kenda's gone to Chelsea now. Whether they bring him through from the academy, Bendito, Mandato could be one, or whether it's a case of they go out and buy one, I'm not sure. But I think they'll use Mazraoui as a utility player, and I think they'll bring in a specialist for that wing back, or push Ahmad back to there as like a permanent position, and then bring in like a winger, like an out-and-out 10 or whatever. Potentially they could do that. But look, these other players I want to go through, and there's a few other tactical bits that I want to discuss as well. Shreyas in the midfield, Manuel Ugarte comes back in. But with the form of Casemiro, was that the right decision?
Personally, I would have gone with Ugarte and Casemiro in there, and then push Bruno into the 10, because
Okay.
I think having Bruno, Garnacho, and Højlund would have been a bit better, because I think Bruno can help out when it comes to complementing Garnacho's space in behind. So in that sense, I would have pushed for Bruno to actually move into the 10, considering the kind of form that Bruno is in as well. Having him near around the box would actually help us a lot.
Mm.
So he's gone with Bruno and Ugarte in the midfield, because I think at least for this season, he sees this midfield only working when Bruno is in there.
Yeah.
And apart from that, I think Casemiro has definitely been in a very good vein of form. But once again, he needs to save Casemiro as well. Casemiro's been playing a lot of minutes. He's getting old as well. He cannot be in a position where Casemiro is risked an injury as well right now. We are already short on midfielders, and I think he's just being careful, because otherwise you wouldn't see Xerxes being dropped. You wouldn't see Casemiro being dropped, in this game. And I think to some level, even the manager understands that he needs to save his players, because even if we do miraculously well in the Prem, the highest we can get to is 11th.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to make much of a difference if you're 11th or 12th or 13th. All your focus is definitely on the Europa League right now. So I think having Eriksen in that 10, I think from a tactical standpoint, you can retain possession of the ball a lot better. Eriksen can move the ball much better centrally, and having Bruno and Eriksen in that same area, you can create that sort of unpredictableness as to who is going to make that late cut into the box. One thing that I don't know is how Eriksen will be able to complement Dalot, because that is a big question mark area. I think when it comes to Mazraoui and Garnacho, the relationship is a lot better. But when you look at Eriksen and Dalot, I don't see that sort of chemistry in between them. And I think overall it was a good choice to actually move in with Højlund. I think he had a very decent performance in the game against Sociedad, and he needs to get him firing one way or another. He genuinely needs to get Højlund firing goals. So, and Leicester are probably your best bet, because defensively they are as bad as Southampton.
Yeah.
So if you want to get Højlund goals, having Eriksen in behind him, they've got that connection from the national team as well, and maybe Eriksen can help produce a bit more when it comes to the attacking third alongside Bruno. So overall, I understand why he's gone with this setup, but I do see some areas where Leicester probably might get the better of us, and that's especially on that side with Eriksen and Dalot, because you lose out on the ball, especially on that right-hand side. Eriksen can't cover that much ground. And Dalot as well, I'm not sure whether he can cover that much ground when it comes to his positional awareness or maintaining that sort of width on that right-hand side as well. So there is definitely a big gamble there, but I think Amorim is also going with the best that he's got on the bench right now.
Lucky for us, Dan, we do have Bruno Fernandes. Is he the best number 10 in the league at the minute, do you think?
At this point, I think yes, because the effort he puts in the team, and he's kind of being a kind of a savior for us in every week in, week out. And whenever we are playing bad or we are not scoring goals, he's up there and providing us what team needs. And in itself, he has once mentioned he's kind of a player who tries a lot. So that's why when he was playing in the kind of an attacking midfield role, we used to see that a lot of things he tries doesn't work well. So he's that kind of a player who has to try and something will click and you will score a goal. So, and he has been doing a great job in that sense as well. And now he has kind of becoming a proper leader. Kind of a captain material day by day, slightly improving. Though I hated the fact that he is the captain because of the body language. But at this point, with the stats speaks for himself, and he's at this point because there is no other player in the league who is up to the level at this point, who is doing the same job as what Bruno does for his team. So and the availability again, he's also switched up in many roles. Earlier he was playing kind of an attacking midfielder. Now he's replacing his role with the in the midfield alongside the central defensive midfielder. So he is always ready, and the stat speaks. And every game he tries to involve every other players in the game. So and the body language is improving nowadays. I mean, any team, any player which is, not feeling better in the game, he just, builds up the energy in the player. So, uh, there's a lot to talk about Bruno Fernandes, because at this point, whatever he does for the team is unquestionable, and I hope that continues. But at the same time, I'm also concerned about the energy. The continuously he's putting up, and every time he's starting the game, so that should not, should not come to a place where he's, getting injured. So I hope that this game he should have been dropped at least in the bench and giving him a rest for this game, because he's there every 90 minutes he's being played. So hardly we have seen him substituted out. So already the league is gone. So the question is about your being placed at the 15th or the 12th or 13th, somewhere around that you are going to finish the season. So you can just try to save players and give them rest. But coming back to the question, I think Bruno Fernandes at this point in the league is the best player at this point, considering the last couple of months he has been doing for the team.
Shreyas, you said Leicester conceded a lot of goals. With that in mind, do you think Bruno he's got to do a few bits tonight, innit? I mean, look at his record the past couple of games. He's done something almost every single game. Is he the one to watch for you in this?
110%.
Yeah.
And you never know. He's been really decent on free kicks as well. So you get a set piece in and around that Leicester box, might see one flying in, and apart from that as well, he just pulls something out every single time. From, I would say, the most unexpected angles as well. Is even during his performance against Sociedad, you could see the kind, and I think me and you actually covered it a bit before as well, that we need to see Bruno take more shots from outside the box, because he's got it in his locker and he can actually do that quite well. So slowly and steadily you can see that growing. Slowly and steadily you can see Bruno going back to the way we have seen him. And I think he's on 30 or 31 goal contributions already this season, and against Leicester I think he's gotten a goal, probably goal or an assist every single time that we played against them this season. So I'm sure whenever we score, I think he'll be involved.
Yeah, I think we're relying on him for goals maybe too much down at the minute, because the forward line, you think about Rasmus Højlund, who obviously we know all season's been struggling. He's not scored since Victoria Pleasing, I think, last year. Eriksen's only just come in. He's not been featuring a lot. And Garnacho's been getting goal involvement, but he's not been, per se, an out-and-out
direct goal scorer.
Direct goal scorer. But there was some praises on Højlund on Thursday night. What did you make of his performance? Did you like what you saw from him?
Yeah, I liked what he was doing in the last game. Like, he was being involved in almost all the attacks, and he was, involving other players as well. So, and he was also there in the positioning wise inside the box, and at the point he could have, if he's top of his own level, a proper striker, he could have scored at least 3 to 4 goals on that day. But I don't know what it will take for him to score at least 1 goal, because last game I was like, he will definitely score, because he was there in a couple of positions where he should have scored, and he was a bit unlucky in a couple of chances there. But overall, his gameplay was, you can see that it was a better game for him, even though he missed a couple of chances. But then overall, if you see that he has been really involved in the game, because earlier you can see he's not being involved, he's not getting the proper supply from the players, and he's not able to capitalize on whenever he gets the ball. But on the last game, you can see like he was making the runs on the wings, and he was involving other players, and that assist also on top of everything was really great when Dalot scored the goal. So I think he has been, compared to the previous games, he has shown more involvement in the game. But then again, as a striker, always it only, your goals only speaks for yourself as a striker. So that's missing there, and I hope at least he starts scoring at least 1 goal, give us something to at least cherish about, because I feel for him, because I have seen him as a future striker for us, and now we see that the rumors are coming out that he'll be the team will be sending him out on loan or something. So I'm really hating that scenario around him. But definitely he has to step up and be more efficient in front of goal, and because the chances you get, you have to score them as a striker. That's a lot of burden on your shoulders, and I hope this game at least one goal is expected from him.
Is Garnacho better on the right hand side for you, Shreyas? As we talk about the front three as a package, Garnacho on the left. I don't know if it was me and you who had the conversation, or if it was just me and Sam. When Dorgu's there on the left-hand side and Garnacho, they seem to get in each other's way quite a bit because Garnacho wants to drift wide. Dorgu ends up playing as an inside 10. It becomes a bit messy. With Garnacho on that right, one, it seems more balanced, and two, it's almost like he has to cross the ball in it. So it's
Exactly.
better. Like he has to assist.
Yeah, I think off the right, he's not able to naturally balance out his body when it comes to striking the ball into the back of the net. And his first instinct is to pass across the ball
Yes.
inside, which makes it difficult for defenders to actually track our runners because most of our players are actually accumulated centrally.
Mhm.
We tend to struggle without Ahmad when it comes to maintaining the width when we are moving the ball upwards. So if you're if you're trying to overcrowd them centrally, your best bet is to try low crosses into the box. And Garnacho has been doing that job really well, and in that way he has, I would say, molded his game style a bit differently. Because earlier on he would never do the kind of passes that he's doing right now. So slowly and steadily he's trying to readapt his play styles and fit into that inside 10 position. But of course there is still a bit more way to a long way for him to go when it comes to being comfortable in that position and knowing when to make the right call, when to make that run, and most importantly how to maintain that width when you're trying to move the ball upwards, not to ignore your wing back when they are trying to make the run or when they are cutting inside. So there is still a couple of things he has to learn naturally, and I'm sure that it will come with time. But earlier on this season he was looked at as a goal scorer. He's become more of an assist creator right now in this team. So definitely there's a big change when it comes to his game style. And I just think that when it comes to his end product, that is where he's lacking. That because when it comes to raw pace, when it comes to agility, when it comes to relentlessness on the on and off the ball as well, I think he completely checks out all the boxes. When it just comes to his end product, when it comes to one-on-one against the keepers, when it comes to making the right call in that split second decisions, I think that is an area where he's just lacking. But apart from that, I think he's been quite decent the past few fixtures.
I agree. Before we get on to focus on Leicester for 5-10 minutes, Newcastle are just about to win the Carabao Cup. I mean, I say that, and they've got, I don't know, 5.5 minutes to see it out. I mean, they have been. I mean, we could even spend 5 minutes on this, to be honest, because Newcastle have been. I don't know if you guys are watching it as well on the thing, but they've been really impressive.
I think Liverpool has scored one.
Oh, have they? Am I about to?
Yeah. 2-1.
Have they?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I must be behind. What's going on here?
I just got the notification.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'm about to witness them score, which is who's that? Oh, that's interesting. Chiesa.
It's on VAR.
VAR offside potentially. Oh God, it's all going off here. So they have scored 93rd minute and a half. I'm not sure he's offside though. I'm just double checking. It's like we're doing a watch along for the Carabao Cup final. He's onside there. He's not offside.
Yeah.
He's onside. In which case, if they've got to protect this lead now for the last 5 minutes with one goal, that is going to be nervy for those Newcastle fans that are behind there. He looks onside there to me. I don't even know why they blew up, to be honest with you.
I hope they still give it offside. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, they deserve it. Newcastle haven't won.
When was the last time they won a trophy?
50 years ago, I think. 50, 60 years ago. That's how long it's been, you know what I mean? And they're still going to win a trophy before Tottenham.
Liverpool are bottling it again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm just waiting for the decision to be a thingy there because that does not look offside. Anyone who's watching these pictures at the minute, that is not offside, I'm telling you. It don't look it at all. You can see that. You don't need no lines to draw no lines to do that. You can just see it from here. But big decision. Yeah, he's onside. He's onside. So Liverpool have scored. Yeah. And there's 4 minutes to go in the Carabao Cup final. I mean, we could just focus on this for 5 minutes, lads, to be honest with you, because this is obviously big news at the moment. And we'll get back onto Leicester in a moment. But did any of you predict Newcastle?
I did.
This?
No.
I did.
I thought Liverpool would clean sweep it, to be honest. I thought they'd...
Yeah.
I thought Newcastle would win just because Liverpool are not in the best shape right now. They just crashed out of the Champions League against PSG at Anfield. So I thought that, it would take a hit on their confidence.
Yeah, it's been quite surprised at how they're falling off a little bit at the moment, mate, because they've been so strong all season. Even in the Premier League, look at it. They're lucky that had they had not been so far ahead, they could have got dragged right back down into this in the
Yeah.
last 10 games.
Yeah.
If Arsenal dropped points the past couple of weeks as well. I know they beat Chelsea today, but even that was like a very tight game. Has the ref give it yet or what? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Chiesa still looking at him.
No, it's given.
Given goal? Yeah, it's given.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Right. So, I don't know where to go here because I really, really want to watch the last couple of minutes of this, but I also don't want to. All right, we'll go to just Leicester a little bit. I'll keep this on in the back screen just to see what's going on with it. For anyone who's wondering, Van Nistelrooy at Leicester tactically usually sets his team up 4-2-3-1 formation, back four, two holding midfielders, one number 10, fluid wingers, and a striker up top. If they're struggling with possession, which they tend to do in the majority of games, 90% of games, they are not afraid to go more direct and get the likes of Jamie Vardy or Decod over Reed or whoever it is 1v1 with our defenders. So we need to be wary of that. They like the numerical advantages in the middle. They have players like Buonanotte and El Canus and these kind of guys dropping in the middle and creating overloads. There's fluidity in the formation. But look, with Leicester lads, if you watched them this season, sloppy at defending. They make a lot of mistakes, spacing issues, lack of quality. They've conceded, I think, 60 plus goals so far this season. So this should be a routine day, should it, Dan, against Leicester?
Yeah, but with United, you never know because they have. Leicester has not scored that many goals against any team because I think the last game they have won. I think they have won in the month of January. After that, they have not won any game, and most of the games they have not scored even a single goal. So that from scoring perspective, you can see that there's not that much threat against us, but we have been sloppy in sometimes, especially with the set pieces. If they can chuck in one or two goals, then we might find it difficult to score against them because teams have, to some extent, they have struggled to score against them. With Chelsea, I think the last week they have they lost 1-0. So I think that was not that bigger of a margin in the scores. So I think we might struggle at some point, but if you take your chances and score, 2 to 3 goals, I think then that's the end for Leicester in this game. So it should be, score goals. Don't pull it till the end of the 90 minutes. Otherwise, anything can happen. So just try to score goals in this first half itself. Just finish the game in first half. And with United against these, especially against the struggling teams, we have not been great. So that could be a bigger threat for us. And especially my confidence is low when we play against a struggling team because I know that we have been playing a Robin Hood kind of a game whenever we play against struggling teams. So with Leicester, I think with Van Nistelrooy, he knows the weakness in and out to some extent. So he might know tactically how to cope up with against United. So that could be a good game, tactical game for us to see what Amorim does against Van Nistelrooy.
A couple of individuals to worry about, Shreyas. I'm not sure if Jamie Vardy is actually starting. I'll double check on Leicester's Twitter at the minute. So you've got Jamie Vardy, you've got Buonanotte. But apart from that, do we have anything to worry about at all in their lineup?
I think
Daka.
Daka, Vardy, El Canus. There's a couple there, isn't there?
Not really. I think defensively, when you look at the players that we put out, I think Heaven has looked very, very confident whenever he's played up until now. De Ligt has been a rock, and Lindelof has been doing all right as well. And I just don't see an out-and-out danger person in that attack when I look at Leicester. I don't see that bite in their attack either. So I think overall, it shouldn't be as much of a problem for us to actually defend their attacks.
All right. I like that positivity and confidence. I'm liking it. I'd like to see how the Premier League and the Championship address this issue with the clubs that come up, because I feel like as soon as the clubs are promoted, they go straight back down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they sort that out because the quality difference is so big and the finances that are involved. I mean, I know some of the teams have spent quite a bit, but Leicester have been one of them that haven't really recruited where Ruud needed it, I don't think. You look at the other teams, at least Ipswich have put quite a bit of money into it. They spent, I think, 100 to 150 million pounds or something along the lines of that. I'm not sure what Southampton spent, but Leicester at the minute, they just feel very stale with a lot of the players. Feel like there's not much going on. And did Ruud feel like the right fit for you at the time, Dan? Seeing him go to Leicester after United?
Yeah, I think, with Ruud, I think he necessarily needed to start from a bottom thing just to prove himself. Because he's at the initial stage of his, career. It's a lot more years for him to go for his managing career. But to train a team who is really struggling and show something out of that, I think that could be a good positive for a manager to show up and show his profile up. So, but at this point, it seems like it's not working out, because initially when we heard the news that Ruud will be going there, we thought like he can, idolize, and he can put in thoughts, his own ideas, in his own plans into Leicester, and we can see a better team playing against Leicester. And we were kind of a bit afraid when we played the first time against them, when Ruud was there. Ruud was their manager. So, but now it seems like it's not working out. Could be because there are players who are better players. You can see their midfield is not that bad. Samare and NDD is there, and Daka is there as a winger. So with Vardy, you know that the experience is always there, and the players are there here and out. But again, they are not able to bring up on the play. So I think with Ruud, the decision was good, because as if you have to showcase something, you need to just choose a smaller team and show something out of it, because you see that with Ranieri when he was their manager of Leicester and he just won the Premier League. I know that will not happen. I don't see that happening again with Leicester again with any other manager. But that was one of that season, and you can see that after the Ranieri name was, everybody knew his name. So that kind of a pull he needs Ruud while playing against Leicester, but playing with Leicester. But I don't think at this point it's working out. I'm not. I won't be surprised if he's fired in this before the end of the season, because something is not working out there.
Yeah, agreed. Breaking news, by the way, Newcastle have won the Carabao Cup. They've beaten Liverpool 2-1. They've hung on at the end. A really, really good performance from them, it has to be said. And do you know what? I'm happy for him. For a club who hasn't won a trophy, like we said, in 50, 60 years, you can see what he means to him on the faces. You can only be happy for him. Obviously, we had that feeling, didn't we, lads, a couple of years ago under Eric Ten Hag when we beat them in the Carabao Cup. So for him to go back now and win it, you've seen the likes of Alan Shearer, Ant Deck, and all these guys all celebrating. So, you know what? In a world of rivalries,
not for every Dutch coach to beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final.
There we go. I was waiting for that line to come out. I'm sure someone's typing that up right now on Twitter or something. Just a couple of stats for you before we get our bet slips in. Having been unbeaten in 4 Premier League games against United over the 21-22 seasons, Leicester have lost their last 3 against United in the competition without scoring. United have just lost one of their last 8 Premier League away games against Leicester. United have beaten Leicester 3 times in all competitions this season. They've beaten 3 sides 4 times in the same campaign before: Sheffield Wednesday, Chelsea, and Nottingham Forest. And Leicester have conceded 998 goals in their 678 Premier League games. They would be the 12th side to concede 1,000 in the competition altogether, and the first to do so in fewer than 700 games. So they've conceded quite a bit, lads, I think it's fair to say. Right, Dan, kick us off with your prediction for this bet slip, whatever you want to call it. What do you see happening in the game today? Same for everyone else in the chat as well.
I think Hoyland scores today, 1. And
bold. That is bold.
Clean.
23 games.
It has to be. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, it's got to be Leicester, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah.
How low you can go for him, to score a goal. And I think clean sheet for us.
Okay.
And you can see Mason Mount coming on.
All right. Okay. Shreyas?
I think Bruno to score or assist at any moment. Ugarte to get a yellow card. And Leicester to get 1.
Oh, I think Leicester will get a goal, yeah.
We concede every single time, one way or another.
In a weird way, I'm almost glad that it's away from home rather than... I don't know why. I just feel like we could just go there, the pressure's off a little bit, it's in the league. I think you should put in a performance tonight. And that's why I've gone with, lads, 2-0, United to win. I've changed my my prediction. I've gone from 1-1 to a 2-0 to feel a bit positive, you know what I'm saying. Bruno Fernandes, score or assist, like Shreya said, I agree. And Samare for Leicester to be booked in the midfield as well. So, yeah. Look, all of our predictions seem relatively positive. That could get shot down within a few minutes. You know what United are like. It's hard to trust them at this moment in time. It really, really is. But it's Sunday night
ONANA
game.
unable to catch a ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think his illness, what he was saying, he's got conjunctivitis, which conjunctivitis is where you get it in your eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then we really are fucked if they're playing him in net with conjunctivitis. He makes mistakes without conjunctivitis. Now we really are done. Yeah, it'd be like that. Trying to say the goal like that. Hopefully not. Hopefully, he's checked his eyes and he's all good to see, because
Hopefully
for a fact,
Leicester don't have a shot.
if he makes a mistake today, the amount of memes that are going to come out where it's like his eyes are a bit puffy, or like I can just see it already. So let's hope
Imagine
we get the
him
dub.
wearing shades or something to
I
the
know.
game.
Oh my god. Look, it's not a final. It's not a trophy. I wish it was, but it's still important. We've still got to get the job done, and let's see what happens. Me, Chivy, and Sam will be on the post-match review for the game. Enjoy it if you can. I'm not sure what to expect. It could be stale. We could get a good few goals. Hopefully, we carry on that momentum and confidence from Thursday night, because we need it, and for the rest of the season, just for that matter as well. So, big up to Dan for joining us. Big up to Shreyas as well. Enjoy the game, lads. I'm not sure how late it is there. What time are you on at in India in a minute?
12-6.
now. Yeah.
12 o'clock, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to be finished the game about, 3 in the morning?
Anything to see Liverpool lose. Anything to see Liverpool lose.
Okay.
2:30.
I love the dedication, lads. I love it. Hopefully we get a win for you as well. I'll throw that out there, okay? Yeah, appreciate everyone watching. Sorry I haven't interacted with the chat. There's just been a lot going on. Smash like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys after